Hey, Joseph here once more. This is Joseph from Joe Concept. I just quickly want to give us a quick tip. I hope to continue this every week. So I don't know if you have any idea. You could just put that in the description so I would know how to go about this quick tip. But for today, I'm just going to quickly share some maybe three, four quick tips with you guys and then be done with it. So here I have Cinema 4D on. All right, so you know that in Cinema 4D, if I want to switch from one camera to the other, sorry, from one file to the other, what I usually do is hit V on my keyboard, come to project, and go to another project, right? So that is what I usually do then. So if I'm to create a new project now, so this is the third project, so just create something. So if I'm to switch, I'll just do this, go between these projects, or I could just go to Windows and pick the project. But there is another thing you can add into your workflow and it makes everything so easy and fast. So what we'll do is you go to your window, you go to customization, then you go to customize command thereabout. So once you click here, this comes up. So you want to search project. So if you click on project, you have these two icons, project next and project um, previous project. So if I click on the previous project, I'll drag it somewhere here. Then I'll click on next project, drag it just beside that. So we have that. So once I'm done with this, what I could do is just maybe I want to save this layout. So I could just save it for startup layout. So anytime I start up Cinema 4D, these icons will be with it. So this is how it works. So if I click on this icon, it takes me to the next project. I don't have to hit C or N. If I click on this, it takes me to the next project. Next, previous. So I just thought that is helpful. I didn't know this was around. I didn't really know. I was just searching through and I saw this. So this is one thing I'm going to be adding to my workflow. So let me just quickly save this so I'll know that anytime I start up Cinema 4D from now on, I'm going to be having this icon. So I'll just click on save as startup layout. Then that is done. You can now see I now have startup user. I have normal startup and startup user. So anytime I start up Cinema 4D, this will come up. So that is the first tip that I want to show you guys. So the second tip is talking about, I'm trying to look at my book here. Okay, so it's talking about here. Let's look at this project here. So this object, I have this, and before now, if I want to create more like a label on this, so I'm assuming this is a product and this is meant to be the label. So for me to create the label and wrap it around this object, we have a couple of ways we can do that. So what I usually do then was to create a spline object. So maybe this and do that, but this is a long process and I would not be using that anymore. So then just use my project command to project that. So that is what I usually would do. But now I have a better option, so I'm going to click that. So, but then for this other option, you need to be very sure that what you need to notice is that whatever you are projecting must be a parametric object, must be an editable object. It's sorry, not parametric, rather editable object. At this parametric state, you won't be able to do this technique. So it's very important, but I'll quickly show you. So what I will do is that make sure you have the object selected and go to any of the view that would like you are looking straight. So this view is fine. This is the right view. I want to project this plane onto this cylinder. So if you have the plane selected, you go to your character. So you would say character, what am I doing in character? I don't have joints here, but really you can actually, the command is here in character. So if you go to the character, you go to the commands, you see project object. So you want to click on this cog wheel here. So now this won't be the default state. So this is what you will have normally. So I'll just right click here to go to the default state. So this is what you have, project inside, project inside, project inside. So what you want to do is you want all the points on this plane to be on the surface. So instead of project inside, you go to point to surface, point to surface, and point to surface. And as soon as you do that, you click OK. It's meant to do that, but now it won't do that. The reason is because, see what we're having. The reason is because this guy is not editable. So we need to convert it. So if I convert this guy to an editable format, it has to be a polygonal object. So then if we go back and run the command, that will work. So if we click on the character command and make sure you have point to surface on all, then click. And if you go out now, you notice this is on the surface. So now you can now decide to say you want to now add a little bit of thickness to it by putting it inside a cloth object. And for the cloth object, you want to get rid of that and just a little bit of thickness. So you have that. That's how you can create your label. And mind you, this doesn't work only on plane. It works on any object. So if I come here now, let me hide this. If I'm to come here and select what do we have here? Any object whatsoever. So let's say torus, for instance, and scale this torus down, change the orientation along X, and move it out. So all you need is just make sure the torus is in a position where it can be projected on the surface. So you have this. So if you go to this, so don't forget, you have to make sure you have this object converted. So select this, convert it so that you have enough points. So if you run the same command, that should work. So let's command project. Everything is fine. Click that. That is projected on that surface. All right. So any object whatsoever works for that. Okay. So that is the second tip. So the third tip I'm going to look at is, let me check my book again. So we've done projecting to surface, we've done next and that. So okay, so this other one is talking about light. So if I have an object here and I want to create a basic scene for me to light, so let's just bring some shapes out. We already have that. Scale this down and bring this here. Okay, so let's assume this is fine. This is enough for what we have here. And let's try and light this thing up. Okay, so we have this object. All right, so let's say we have this and we want to light this up. So we could say, okay, for instance, we want to add a spotlight. And you see the spotlight looking through this, and we can just try as much as to rotate these objects such that it looks through and that. So there's so much we can do. There's just so little we can do with this, trying to do this. So this will really take a ton of our time. But there is a way we can light this interactively, and that is turning your light to camera. So we're going to be looking from the point of view of the light. So how we do that is make sure you have the light selected. You go to camera, you come here and you use active object as camera. So whatever object you have selected turns to camera. So if I do that, see what I have. So the light becomes this. So I can now start moving this to position where I want the light to be. So if, for instance, this is what I want to make my focus to be, just somewhere here, I can do this, and once I'm done with that, I can just come to camera and then go back to perspective. Okay, so once you're done, you have to come out and set this to your default camera. Yeah, So we'll come back to the default camera, and this is the light. So if I have another light in the scene thereabouts, so let's say this other light in the scene, we could also do similar thing here. So maybe this one, I wanted to look through this. So this is the light tool. So I will just make sure the light is selected, go to camera, set as active, then bring this here. So maybe I'll drag this scale of field of view down and focus more here, somewhere here. So once I'm done, go back to camera, use camera default, and we're back. So that's just the other tip. You could just use your light as a camera and just position where you want it to be, and that will have that. So that is for the camera.